Welcome back. We talk a lot about money and we talk a lot about real estate, but we also try to give some life lessons, and life is certainly more precious, more important than real estate or money. Kris Forth joins us, the founder and CEO of Brandon's Goal Foundation. They raised over $72,000 that was distributed among several organizations, including Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, Providence Pediatric Hospice, Seattle Children's Hospital, and many local families in need. And Kris Forth joins us. Kris, first of all, welcome.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for being here and joining.
Thank you for having me.
Talk a little bit. So, what is Brandon's Goal Foundation and mission?
Well, my son Brandon passed away in March of 2010, and his goal was to beat his cancer. And unfortunately, he didn't do that. But in his memory, we're carrying on the goal of helping other kids beat their cancer and hopefully find a cure. Our mission is we want to change the course of childhood cancer. I think finding a cure probably isn't super realistic, but finding better, less toxic treatments is, and finding a way to manage cancer as a disease where that child is able to survive, grow up, and be a thriving adult. Versus right now, the treatments are so crude and so hard on the kids that they oftentimes, those that survive, are now adults, but they have lifelong disabilities.
You're talking about like chemo and things of that nature.
Chemo and radiation is like taking a hammer to a pea. It's a very crude way of trying to kill off something. And right now, a lot of the research that we fund is moving more towards the DNA and the pathway of the cell. A cancer cell doesn't know how to turn itself off. It doesn't go through cell death, things we learn about in high school. And the doctors that we support, the researchers that we support, they're trying to find ways to block that pathway and tell that cell you eventually need to turn yourself off, because if you keep replicating, you just then grow into a big tumor.
And so what are some of these, first of all, what is Brandon's entire story?
Brandon, right before his 4th birthday, he started waking up with headaches, not feeling really well. And what we later learned is that as he slept and gravity wasn't allowing his spinal fluid to come back down from his brain, he'd wake up with a headache and vomiting and not feeling very well. A lot of families will go through months and months of being told that their child has a virus, they'll get better. And we were lucky, our pediatrician probably had Brandon diagnosed within a month. And we were then at Evergreen Hospital on a Tuesday night for a CAT scan. So Brandon was diagnosed right before his 4th birthday. What he had was pretty rare in the world of childhood brain tumors. So we started researching, because the current prognosis of what children's could do, because they really only operated on maybe 2 brain tumors like Brandon's a year. So we searched our country and the world for the best doctor, and that was back at St. Jude's in Memphis. So for 5 years, Brandon would travel out there. He unfortunately recurred twice between 2004 and 2008. And then unfortunately, 2008, 2009, he just kept recurring. Amazing child, just a outstanding person. You can go to our website, brandonsgoal.com, and read testimonials from people that knew him. And as a child, just his perspective and how he wanted to help other kids. He would have birthday parties, and he had a lot. When you're a child who's sick, you get a lot. And he would tell his friends, just bring a gift that's not wrapped, and my mom and I will take it down to Children's because the kids are in the hospital and they need it. Towards 2009 and 2010, he suffered a couple seizures that really set him back. And then Brandon, at the age of 10 and 10 months, told me that he was done. He did not want to go down to the hospital anymore for treatment. Kids are so wise. It just is beyond me how intuitive they are. And he said, I'm done. And he told his counselor privately that he knew what that meant, but he didn't want to talk to me about it because he didn't want to make me sad. And we just spent the 2 months living the best days we could. And he passed away very peacefully at our home.
I can't imagine what you had to go through, and knowing that other parents go through this, and you're continuing his goal to try to help that cause is so deep. is there not enough funding for children's cancer? It would seem that would be something there's, I don't know, lots of money going into.
Our country is an industry. Every department, every group that is trying to do something, it is an industry. People are paid salaries to do what they do. Women with breast cancer, there's millions of those. Children in our country with cancer each year, there's 13,000. So a pharmaceutical company spending millions of dollars to develop a drug to treat kids, they're not going to make a lot of money off of that. And they will make a lot of money off of the larger population of adults that have cancer. So when we support Fred Hutch and Dr. Jim Olson and his lab, 80% of the funding comes from people like us, from private funding, from families who kids are in remission, or for families like ours whose child has died. And we give Jim money and say, please keep researching, find a way to better treat these kids. Providence Pediatric Hospice, who was with us the last year, which without them, our experience would have been awful. It was awful as it was, but to have palliative care and hospice, it was so comforting. They took care of so much. They are 100% privately funded. We were just able to give them a $5,000 check that will actually help to bring in a part-time nurse that will know every child on the service, about 10 at a time. And in Brandon's situation, he passed away on a Saturday morning, so our nurse that had been with us the entire year couldn't be there because her work week was done. They brought in another nurse from Tacoma who was wonderful, but she wasn't Tammy. We now are helping to pay for a weekend nurse that will at least have met every family once, and then he or she can come in on the off hours to be there with that family. And then during our experience, we found that there are so many services and so many organizations out there that can help you, but they're not all connected. So we started a family support program at Children's where the social worker in the hematology oncology clinic can give a family my card, and they'll email and say, we just need gas cards to help us get here from Tri-Cities. Or we helped a young couple fix their alternator and fix their windshield so they could safely drive their daughter to radiation every day. So we just want to help these families in the practical ways every day that they need to take care of their child. And then we also help educate them in how to seek second opinions, how to read a pathology report, an MRI report, and how to ask questions of your doctor that sometimes you're scared to ask, but you have every right to ask.
Well, Kris, it sounds like Brandon's goal and the foundation is not only saving lives, but it's also improving the lives and the life of children and families while they're still here. So, thanks for doing that, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. When we come back, Heather Moore is going to join us. We'll bring everybody back.